Hey, this is Gardner of Eden, and we are studying for the national portion of the real estate exam. Your home NW, I own that, and I'm taking that tomorrow because I help people buy homesteads in multiple states, and I need a higher level license so that I can have my license in Oregon, Alaska, Eastern Washington, Idaho, and Montana. And I'm set up to take all of those tests right behind this one. So I'm taking this one in the morning. If you're trying to homestead in a different state or whatever is important to you, location or dollar that you have available, I'll be able to have that. Like some homesteads I'm able to get for as low as 500 bucks. That's a real thing. And I bought one myself for $6,000 for an entire acre. And so in different states, I can help you get stuff and get set up. You can get renters on there, and you can have somebody else preparing your homestead for your future arrival, or you can go there. So yeah, homesteading is the way to go. All right, let's retake this for the second time and see how this goes for anybody that's studying for real estate right now, because that's why I'm reading this out loud. Because for my managing brokers exam, when I went to read other people's, nobody did this. So let's do it. What happens to a contract if there is undue influence or duress applied to one party of the contract? It becomes voidable. The options are it becomes unenforceable, it becomes invalid, it becomes voidable. What would be the status of ownership if there was joint tenancy made up of three people and one of them happens to die? The two remaining joint tenants now own one half of the property each as joint tenants. So on your homestead, this is critical because you can go in with other people. And for me, huge benefit. My brother and I own a homestead together. I'm super busy. My brother, pretty busy. My boyfriend, uninterested. So the three of us bought a homestead together. And if one of us happens to die, then the other two just automatically take title. And I think we can also, if my boyfriend wants to opt out and take his name off of that for some reason, or if we want to refinance, then we decided to go with joint tenants for our ownership, and we're pretty happy with that one. It does say that there's one here for the heirs of the deceased to inherit the interest in the property. That's going to be something that we want to research because that's important. Because I do have kids, so on some of my properties, I want to buy some and make sure that my kids separately have a vested interest in that in case they want to participate. What is the term used to describe the total collection of rights which may be claimed by private ownership? That's called the bundle of rights. What is the reason why oral contracts for the sale of real property are not necessarily void, but yet are unenforceable? The statute of frauds. What will happen to the easement if Mr. Weber, who was given a life estate, graciously conveys an easement to the Gormans to cross over his land, but he happens to die 1 year after granting the easement? It will terminate. All right, is Kyle going with you? You guys are going without me? Is that what's happening?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which of the doing your video?
Yeah. Which of?
I love you.
All right, I love you too. I'll meet you guys there.
All right.
Which of the following defines bilateral contract? Okay, yeah, we got a fan club on that one. Which of the following? That's my boyfriend and my brother. Which of the following defines bilateral contract? When one party is given an option to perform. Let's just skip to the answer. When a promise by one party. Sure, if you guys could wait 5 minutes.
Well, I can't wait 5 minutes.
Okay. When a promise by one party is given in exchange for a promise by another party, that's a bilateral contract because two people are involved. Bilateral. What type of business organization is formed if six individuals unite together to purchase a property and they own the property in severalty? So severalty, I learned, means one person. And so the choices are syndicate, general partnership, corporation, or limited partnership. We have to go with corporation because a corporation counts as one person. So that's the only way that it could be owned in severalty, one person. Because a corporation is the guy that owns it, even though 6 people are in the corporation. What is the term used when describing the government's right to make laws and regulations for the general welfare of the public? That's called police power. Police power is when the government has the right to make rules and enforce them. All of the following forms are titles that a husband and wife may hold, with the exception of severalty. That's what we just said. Only one person can own in severalty. Before a creditor can have his outstanding debt satisfied through the sale of the debtor's property, several legal steps must sometimes be taken. All of the following are steps in the process, with the exception of a writ of persecution. That doesn't even sound like a legit thing. Mr. Harris is married and has children. One day he dies without leaving a will. The value of his real estate holdings is estimated to be over $1 million. What would happen to his real estate? It would be distributed according to the laws of descent and distribution. Apparently, that's throughout the country. And usually the spouse takes first precedence, then the kids, and then so on and so forth. What are telephone lines an example of? They are an example of an easement in gross. All of the following must be contained in a recorded valid deed, with the exception of a signature of the grantee. The grantor is the seller. The grantee is the receiver. They don't have to sign. An example of a less than freehold estate is a leasehold estate, because it's a lease. Which of the following covenants is the one where a grantor promises to own a property and has a right to convey title to it? That is going to be a covenant of cession. A type of tenancy that refers to ownerships of real property is called tenancy at will, tenancy in common, tenancy at sufferance, tenancy for years. We're going to say tenancy in common. The following statement is not correct. A deed conveys a future interest in real estate if so specified by the grantee. You can't convey future interest because you might go to foreclosure. Who is the one that signs a deed to convey property? The grantor. Which of the following would not be considered when determining whether an item is a fixture or not? The value. It's the attachment that matters. All of the following are involuntary methods of conveying property, with the exception of a quitclaim deed. That's not involuntary. What is the primary purpose of a listing agreement? To serve as a contract of employment between the owner and the broker. We're acing this right now. When is the title to real property conveyed by deed? When it is recorded by the grantee.
How many questions is that?
36. I'm on 22. You could just go if you want.
I just don't want to be late.
Okay.
I'll just see this.
Okay. Typically, the amount of a broker's commission is established by agreement between the broker and the seller or the buyer, established by the real estate commission, based upon the standard rates, 6 or 7%. We have established by agreement between the broker and the seller. That's what we're going to go with. Would it be a valid lien if a person builds a hangar next to an adjacent property and a construction lien was then placed against the property or the aircraft? No, it should have been placed against real and personal property. No, construction liens can only be filed on the real property that was worked on. That's the answer. What is a listing broker usually considered to be? A fiduciary of the seller, a dual agent, the principal of the transaction, or the client in the transaction. They're a fiduciary of the seller. A blank is an item that has been attached to and become part of the real property, but was originally personal property. That's a fixture. The interest in a broker's trust account, unless otherwise agreed by the parties, goes to whom? The state treasurer. Regarding sub-agency relationships, which is false. A sub-agent has an implied authority to act as a dual agent. The selling company should contact the listing company before showing a property. The listing broker is a principal
of the selling broker. A subagent can only perform the activities delegated to him and cannot be involved in making decisions. So which one is false? The false one is regarding sub-agency relationships. The listing broker is a principal of the selling broker. That's false. Which of the following statements is false? The director may revoke or suspend licenses. They can do punitive action. They can require education. They cannot proceed with an investigation involving punitive action without a written complaint. That's false. All exclusive listings must include an expiration date. There has to be an end date. The order of water rights is determined in many states according to, I think it was the doctrine of prior appropriation. If a broker wants to charge a flat fee to all sellers, regardless of the list price of a house, in order to collect the same amount for any sale, in what instance could the broker be able to do this? By showing the seller the flat fee versus the percentage, by informing the seller prior to the listing and obtaining an agreement. That's it. Which of the following is not a punitive action that is available to the director? Sentenced to jail. They can't send you to jail. Submit quiz and 94%. Dang it.
Okay, let's go.
So the ones that were wrong is what happens to a contract if there is undue influence. It becomes voidable. No, that's right. Where is the wrong one? Let's see. There it is. When is the title to real property conveyed by deed? When it is delivered to and accepted by the grantee. Regarding subagency relationships, which of the following is false? The listing broker is a principal of the selling broker. That's false. A subagent has an implied authority to act as a dual agent. That's a false statement. And that's it. So I don't know if we'll try it again when I get back. We might do that so that we get 100% because the test is in less than 12 hours at this point. Oh, gosh.
You got
wait.
this, dude.
Maybe 15 hours. That's right. It's at
You
9
got
a.m.,
this
not
easy
5 a.m.
peasy, dude.
Easy peasy. That's what my boyfriend says. Easy peasy. We'll see.